The Bolivian national football team, also known as La Verde Los Altiplanicos, has represented Bolivia in international football since 1926. Organized by the Bolivian Football Federation, it is one of the 10 members of FIFA's South American Football Confederation. After playing in the 1930 and 1950 World Cups, they qualified just once, in 1994. There, playing champions Germany in the tournament's opening game in Chicago, Bolivia lost 1-0 as Marco Etcheverry, considered the nation's best player of the 1990s, got sent off just 3 minutes after coming on as a substitute. They have never advanced past the first round of any World Cup, and have only scored 1 goal, in 1994. However, they did win the Copa America at home in 1963, and finished as runners-up in the following tournament as hosts in 1997. In the Copa America 2015 in Chile, after defeating Ecuador 3-2, they advanced to the quarter-finals for the first time since 1997. This also ended a non-winning streak in the Copa America, with the last win being on June 28, 1997, when they defeated Mexico 1-0 in the semi-finals. History. Bolivia debuted in international football in 1926, 1 year after the foundation of the Bolivian Football Federation. As participants of the 1926 South American Championship in Chile, Bolivia scored first against the host with Teófilo Aguilar, but wound up defeated by the Chileans 7-1. Bolivia also lost the following 3 games: 0-5 against Argentina, 1-6 against Paraguay and 0-6 against Uruguay. In 1930, Bolivia was one of the teams invited to the inaugural edition of the FIFA World Cup, held in Uruguay. Drawn in Group 2 of the 1930 FIFA World Cup, Bolivia lost both its games 4-0, first to Yugoslavia at the Estadio Parque Central, and then to Brazil in the Estadio Centenario. The match versus the Yugoslavs would be the last match against non-South American opposition for Bolivia until 1972, when they again met Yugoslavia. They returned in the 1950 FIFA World Cup, where Argentina's withdrawal from the qualifiers led Bolivia to an automatic berth. With 3 teams declining to play in Brazil, Bolivia was put in a group of 2 along with Uruguay. The Bolivians' only game was an 8-0 defeat to Uruguay at the Estadio Independencia in Belo Horizonte. Bolivia's greatest football achievement was the 1963 South American Championship title, which they hosted and had the advantage of being better used to the higher altitudes. Afterwards, the country only started to resurge in an international level with the creation of the Academia Tahuichi Aguilera in Santa Cruz de la Sierra in 1978, a football school that revealed players such as Marco Etcheverry, Erwin Sanchez and Luis Cristaldo. Under Spanish coach Casabia Azcagorta and featuring 9 players from Tahuichi, Bolivia became the first team to beat Brazil in the South American qualifiers while playing them in La Paz, and qualified for the 1994 FIFA World Cup, finishing second in Group B of the CONMEBOL qualifiers behind the Brazilians themselves. Bolivia was drawn into the tournament's Group C, and got selected as the adversary of defending champions Germany in the tournament's opening match. Bolivia lost in Chicago's Soldier Field 1-0 following a screw-up by goalkeeper Carlos Trucco, while also earning the fastest red card in World Cup history as Etcheverry got sent off just 3 minutes after entering the game. Following a 0-0 draw with South Korea at Foxborough Stadium, Bolivia returned to Chicago and lost 3-1 to Spain, with Sanchez scoring the first ever Bolivia goal in the World Cup. Following that, Bolivia again hosted the South American Championship, now known as Copa Copa America in 1997. Again the team reached the final, only for this time to finish as runner-up to Brazil. In the 2015 Copa America in Chile, Bolivia are in Group A, with Chile, Mexico, and Ecuador. In the match against Mexico, Bolivia drew 0-0. However, against Ecuador, Bolivia defeated them by a score of 3-2, with goals from Ralts, Smedberg, Dalens, and Martins. For this victory against Ecuador, Bolivia made it to the next round, the quarter-finals, since the 1997 tournament, in which they hosted it. Bolivia were defeated by Peru 1-3 in the quarter-finals of the tournament. Bolivia's only goal of the game was a penalty in the last minutes of the match by Marcelo Martins Moreno. Kit history. Bolivia's first uniforms were all white. In the 1930 FIFA World Cup, Bolivia painted before the starting match with Yugoslavia one of their letters in Viva Uruguay in each of the 11 starters' jerseys to please the local crowd. In the following game with Brazil, given the adversary also wore white, Bolivia instead borrowed Uruguay's own blue uniform to play. Bolivia again painted a message to the hosts in the 1945 South American Championship, with the players' jerseys reading Viva Chile. In 1946, Bolivia changed the jersey colors to black and white stripes, like the colors of the Cochabamba region. FBF reverted to white the following year. In 1957, FBF decided to use one of the colors in the flag of Bolivia. Given red and yellow were used by many of the other South Americans, green became the primary color, leading to the nickname El Verde Stadium. Bolivia play the home games at Estadio Hernando Siles, which has an altitude of 3,637 meters above sea level, making it one of the highest football stadiums in the world. Many visiting teams protest that the altitude gives Bolivia an unfair advantage against opponents. On May 27, 2007, FIFA declared that no World Cup qualifying matches could be played in stadiums above 8,200 feet above sea level. However, FIFA raised the altitude limit after months of campaigning against the ban, thus allowing the stadium to continue holding World Cup qualifying matches. Competitive record. FIFA World Cup record, FIFA Confederations Cup record, Copa America record, Pan American Games record. 1951 to 1971 did not compete. 1975 round 2. 1979 to 2003 did not compete. 2007 4th place. Records. Most capped players. Players in bold are still active at international level. As of June 6, 2016, the 10 players with the most caps for Bolivia are top goal scorers. Players in bold are still active at international level. As of June 6, 2016, the 10 players with the most goals for Bolivia are 2018 FIFA World Cup qualification standings, match results and fixtures, recent matches as well as any future scheduled matches. Current squad. The following 23 players were called up for the Copa America Centenario squad. Caps and goals updated as of June 14, 2016 after the game against Argentina. Recent call-ups. The following players have been called up during the last 12 months. Retired players are not included.